on Saturday night, Sunday morning, about 1:59 a.m., we had a deputy who had a car stop at 1500 East Harry. At that time, he was standing outside of the car, contacting the citizen inside the vehicle, when another vehicle from behind struck the deputy's vehicle, causing our vehicle to strike the deputy. The deputy suffered a fractured hip, was taken to the hospital, where he was then admitted into the hospital. What we have for you today is a diagram of the actual accident, and then photos, if you want to bring those up, Tim, photos of the accident itself. The individual or the suspect in the case was intoxicated. He was taken to a local hospital where he was admitted for his injuries. They were not life-threatening injuries. He was not booked into jail. We're still working the investigation now to present charges to the district attorney's office in the future.
Do we know the speeds at what that driver was going? I mean, you can see pretty bad damage on his car. Any idea?
Not yet, no ma'am. We're still, it takes a little bit for our accident team to put all that information together. Again, this happened a little over 24 hours ago, so they got to put all the math together to figure out speeds and all those type of things. So we don't know that at this point.
Two incidents, obviously the tragedy that we're facing with Wichita Police involving alcohol as well as what we believe, and now this. I mean, obviously your deputy was injured. Could this have been a very dangerous situation? I know these happen everywhere, and we see this crazy dash cam footage, of officers barely making their way out or escaping. So when you reflect on it, what does that kind of bring up, how dangerous?
Well, anytime that we conduct traffic stops whatsoever, those are inherently dangerous, both from oncoming traffic and also because we don't know what we're getting ready to face when we walk up to the car. So yes, we train nonstop on car stop procedures, how to be the safest, those type of things. We train to walk up on both sides of the car, not always the driver's side, those type of things. Sometimes the environment prevents us from walking up on the passenger side. But the key factor to this is that we believe this person was intoxicated, which led to this particular accident. We also believe in the accident that took the life of Officer Stacy Woodson, that person was intoxicated as well. The fact of the matter is that we preach it all the time. Media does as well. Don't drink and drive. Obviously, folks still do, and these are the tragedies that come out of it. And unfortunately, this weekend we had one law enforcement officer was killed and a second that was seriously injured due to drunk driving.
It's been good weather, and I mean, does that kind of, we think back in a nice weather, people were sitting, we kind of think that may have been why these two happened. I mean, do we tend to see nice weather correlate with drunk driving?
No, not necessarily. We see drunk drivers every day of the week, all over the county. There's no doubt when it becomes nicer, folks really need to pay attention because a lot more motorcycles are out. And so we do see an increase in motorcycle accidents this time of year and during the summer months. But as far as a DUI aspect, no, that's happening all the time. And sometimes it takes tragedies to maybe wake some people up. I know people are going to drink, but there's no reason to drive whatsoever. It's just not something that folks should do. In this day and age, with Lyft drivers, Uber, all those other type of things, not that there was any excuse whatsoever to drive drunk, but there is so many reasons why you shouldn't ever even think about driving if you've been drinking. And so, a lot of people are, some folks say, well, I just had 2 beers. Well, if they're not very tolerant of alcohol, they could be buzz driving. Some folks are alcoholics and they drink all the time and think that they can handle it. And when we catch them, they blow really high levels of alcohol to the point where it amazes us they're even able to stand up.
What different precautions do you guys take when stopping the driver if you realize that they are intoxicated?
when we stop a driver.
As far as like, you know, like if they're intoxicated, you don't really know what you're gonna get versus when you stop someone behind.
Well, one of the first things that you end up doing is try to create distance between them and the car. So you'll ask them to shut the car off, try to get them out away from the vehicle to a safe area, because they are intoxicated and they can fall and those type of things, and we don't want them to be injured by any type of oncoming cars either. So that's one of the first things that you try to do, is you just try to distance themselves from the car, so that way they can't take off in the car. And also get them out of the traffic lane areas. You know, there's a lot of intoxicated folks that we pull over, and we're generally, or pull over to the right. A lot of folks will stop in the intersection, we'll stop right there, we'll pull to the left, create hazards, those type of things, because they're drunk.
And I know with the tragedy that happened with Officer Woodson, is it every time there's a fatality, you automatically check for DUI on location, or what is that protocol?
Yeah, the protocol is that if there's any type of very serious injury or any type of fatality, we immediately want to rule out whether alcohol or some other substance is involved. So that's normal in any one of these investigations.
And in both of these, was it alcohol, or are you looking at drugs or anything, or is it specifically alcohol for both of these?
Well, being that it's under investigation, we're not able to really talk a lot about what it is. We suspect alcohol involved. Once all the testing that we did comes back, we'll have a better idea of exactly what the substance was.
And you guys have to experience a lot of unfortunate situations with fatalities and just accidents. Knowing that, you know, it involved 2 law enforcement officials over the weekend, does that get closer to home? How do you guys deal with it? Do you have anything where you console other people in the department when situations like this occur?
Well, the situation with Officer Woodson is his brother's a lieutenant here with the sheriff's office. So anytime that you have somebody within the law enforcement family that passes away, it does hit home a little bit harder. Does it change the way that we do business? No, we do business the same way no matter who it is. But the fact of the matter is that this one does affect both the police department and the sheriff's office. We will have what's called a CISM team that will do some briefings with the officers or deputies that were out there, along with emergency personnel such as the fire department and EMS. And so that's going to be set up later this week for any of those folks that want to attend to talk about how they're feeling, the experience of these things. I mean, it's a lot different when you go out to these type of calls. Most calls that I've been on, you know, you really don't know the folks. You feel horrible for the family. You feel horrible for the victim, but there's not that real personal connection. When you see one of your own that is deceased, it does hit closer to home.
Was it challenging knowing that the next day there was another accident involving alcohol and it was involving another law enforcement official, knowing that a day before somebody had died from that?
Yeah, I can tell you in my almost 29 years in law enforcement, I haven't seen something like this where we've had off-duty officers killed before by drunk driving, but we haven't had 2 incidents as close as they were together as these. So, you know, everybody says, well, you know, what are you doing for training? We've been training the same way for almost 29 years that I've been here. That doesn't, it's not always a training issue. And in these 2 cases, it's not a training issue. It's folks need to quit driving while they've been drinking, plain and simple. That's the message that needs to be out there.
And do you have numbers on that intersection? I know when I spoke to you Saturday, you said there's been accidents at 21st Street North and 167th Street West since you could remember. And you said you guys might have numbers coming there.
We are pulling those numbers now, yes. I do not have the numbers because it takes a little bit to get to review each one of the cases that's happened there, to understand exactly what the extent of the injuries were with some folks, and then fatalities.
For your own deputy, what will kind of his recovery? He'll be out for some time.
He'll be out for some time. He's seeing a specialist today to see how they proceed next with his medical care. So We don't know if that will involve surgery. We don't know what that will involve. But we'll be there for him as well, him and his family, while he goes through the recovery process.
I kind of want to touch back on when we see a lot of, we've seen instances where cars hit the patrol vehicle, and do we know if, what specifically he was struck with? Is there any information on that? What caused his injuries?
Well, his injuries were caused by the patrol vehicle. In this particular instance, we do not have video.
They happen so fast, that's another thing, another reaction time. I mean, an officer is preoccupied with, whoever they're dealing with and
Yes.
stuff. I mean, I know you guys are obviously always in danger when you have to pull people over, especially at nighttime. I don't know if that makes a difference, but, for you, when you reflect on those pictures, do you think that this could have been, a lot worse?
Oh, absolutely, it could have been a lot worse. I mean, he could have died. You can't get into a lot about what actions he took that helped him, because it's an investigation, and we want to make sure that we give the cleanest version of this case to the DA, and we're not going to talk about the investigation itself that could impinge the investigation.
We spoke with a commissioner yesterday, Commissioner O'Donnell, who said, speaking of the intersection where Officer Woodson passed, he was saying that, a lot of it, any intersection can be dangerous when it involves alcohol. What is your response to this? Are you guys looking at it's an intersection problem, it's alcohol problem, is it both? I mean, where do you guys,
Well,
more on anything of this?
Yeah, traditionally what happens, and this isn't the first intersection we've done this with, where we get with the traffic engineer and a study is conducted. And that will take some time. And so we'll meet with the traffic engineer sometime here this week, discuss our statistical information with them, and see if there's anything else that can be done with that intersection. Now, a lot of those accidents don't involve alcohol. And so is there something there that needs to be done extra at that particular intersection to hopefully maybe prevent some of these accidents? But I will tell you, I've lived in that area since 1976, so I know that area very well. A lot of folks that get in accidents, it's because they're in a hurry. They stop at the stop sign, but they just glance both ways and then shoot through the intersection. Those intersections out in the county, you need to take time, stop at the intersection, look both ways, and check both ways at least a couple times before you enter into the intersection. This isn't the only intersection where we have these type of accidents. But that one there, individuals really need to use caution, because we have had some serious accidents at 167th and 21st over the last several years.
Why do you think a traffic light hasn't been put there? I hear from everyone on this, that lives in that area constantly say that they've been calling for years to get something done, and nothing has been done.
That I don't know about. I know that it's a two-way stop there, has been for years. That's why there needs to be a traffic study. A lot of times, traffic lights are installed because there's a lot of traffic going through there. I mean, Mays Road used to be a four-way stop. And so, again, the study needs to take place. The traffic engineer needs to deem what is necessary for that particular intersection. And I'll leave that all up to them. We don't get involved in that aspect of it.
How is Officer Woodson's brother doing? Is he on duty right now, or is he
No.
taking time off?
No, he'll be off for a while. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious probably how he's doing. But Jeremy's a great guy, very mature, and he's handling it just fine right now. More of the concern is with Stacy's immediate family. His wife and daughter are very good people, and this has been just a tragedy. To lose half your family in one incident is never easy.
I guess just reiterating this, what is your message to people drinking and driving? Clearly, we've seen a very heavy impact this weekend. You said this is not something you've seen increase, correct? It's just, we're seeing more of a tragedy of it this weekend, correct? Or is it you see DUIs going up right now?
We'd have to take a look at the numbers as far as the DUIs going up. But what I will tell you is that It is we've been preaching for years about drinking and driving. And unfortunately, in my 29 years, sometimes it takes a tragedy to really get the community motivated behind something to make a change. I think with these two incidents, those are the tragedies. And I think it's time that people absolutely wake up and realize that driving and drinking does not mix. It never has, never will, so quit. Just quit doing it.
And this is any level of drinking, correct? Were they heavily under the influence? When you say DUI, does that mean buzzed or does that mean over the legal limit? What, in these situations, what level of drinking were they under?
Again, those particulars of both of those incidents we're not able to discuss right now because it's part of the investigation. But my take is that if you're gonna drink, then don't drive. Make other arrangements.
If you guys wanna get copies of these stills, I'll go through them one at a time.
Yeah,
for
if
you.
you could, please.
Yep.
Are
Let
you
me know when you're
releasing
ready.
the deputies' name or
No.
anything?
No. Anything else?